good fortune of working at ALBA for 10 plus years now. And, I didn't grow up around farming at all. I grew up in San Diego, pretty urban environment. And I thought I was going to go to law school at one point. Anyhow, I studied anthropology in college. And then I ended up getting a 2-year work visa to work in Scotland, just north of England. And when I was there, I got a job on an organic farm. And guess what? Having never grown up around agriculture, this is my early 20s, I fell in love with it and decided I wanted to continue to do this as my job. And I came back to California and got a job at the Cal Poly Organic Farm in San Luis Obispo. And so I started working there full time, believe it or not. And when I was there, I thought, well, at some point I should probably go back to school and learn more. And so then I went back to school for a master's degree at Cal Poly and got to, apply or use what I was learning in the classroom out in the fields. It was a great way to learn. It was, very much learn by doing. And then, a job opened up at ALBA when I graduated, and I applied for it, and I got it, and I've been there ever since. And for me, the aspect of my job that I like a lot is, really being able to help people pursue their dream more than anything. We all take for granted this ability to go to college and study a career and then go out and get a job and keep advancing, right? And that's harder for some people in our society. So ALBA really helps people that don't necessarily have a lot of easy opportunities. It helps them do something that they're passionate about and make a better living at and improve their quality of life. That's enough on me.
Thank you. I'm always fascinated about how Nathan became a farmer, pretty much. And I've been working with him for around 10 years. And I know he knows a lot about farming and he helps a lot the farmers. He not only teach the class, but he's always around the farm. And I can see how the farmers come and the students anytime to ask him for advice. So that's really cool. So my name is Nancy Porto. I'm originally from Colombia. I came here when I was on my late 20s. I also didn't know what to study when I graduated in Colombia. I was like 19. And I just tried journalism because I like it to listen in the news. And I always thought, oh, how is the radio? I used to listen the news, and I was always wondering how they create news and all of the stuff. Anyways, so I signed up for that, and I graduated, and then I kind of like it. I like writing and reading. I love reading literature. So then I did, when I finished it, I didn't feel like being part of the press. I didn't end up working in newspaper or stuff, because I got to know what is the story behind. But I liked the communication part. So I did a master in social communication. So since then, I've been focusing my career in social aspects and community work. And then I came to this country, and I always was working before I came, after I graduated, I worked for the environmental ministry of my country, and I stayed there for 4 years. So I really like the environmental topics. Back then, we heard about climate change, and everybody was like, what is that? We heard about the acid rain, and I was reading about all of those topics, and I really called my attention. So, and I became really worried about that and wanted to learn more. And then I came to this country with no English. I was, as I said, almost in my latest 20s, and I got an internship in San Francisco for a nonprofit organization called Resource Renewal Institute. And I think that set my path in this country, because I ended up, getting to know more about how the environmental policies work. I worked for 4 years leading a program in Mexico. So I had to travel to Mexico many times, and I got to know many states of Mexico. And then after I have my kids, I have two kids right now. One is at his last year of high school, like you guys do. Some of you too. He doesn't know what to study either. And his brother is in Santa Barbara in college there. He's doing environmental studies. Um, and then after I have them, I got this offer at ALBA. And one of the topics that I never had touched or read or go into deep was agriculture. Back in my country, it was always environmental topics, and here environmental policies. But something that caught my attention in this country was farming, because I remember I used to drive and see all the lines, like the lines that Nathan have in the back. But in industrialized agriculture, you can see that they are like straight. And we don't see that in my country. Agriculture there is more like basic. So I always was like, oh my God, how can they do that? And I saw people working there, and I was like, wow. It always was like, I wanted to go and walk around there and find out, but I never did it. And then I got the job in ALBA, and I've been there since then since now for 12 years. And I've been doing communications and environmental education. I lead the environmental education program in ALBA, and I do community relations too. So it's very nice to meet you guys. Hopefully we will see, I'll see you there when we open the farm again.
Yes, definitely. I did have a quick follow-up question though. If there were no lines, everybody was just interplanting things?
What is that?
If there were no lines in the fields over in Colombia, was it just planted like a food forest, or how?
Because Colombia the environment is very different. We are in the center of tropical, so we have plains, we have mountains, and we have the coast. So we don't have the industrialized agriculture right here. We do it more like a little bit like in Mexico, like la pizca, you know, they have different crops at the same time, and people get together and sell it to big companies, like not company brokers. So you won't find the way that the farming is here over there. It's more like in little plots.
Mm-hmm.
And we produce more coffee than anything, so, and coffee is very different. Coffee and chocolate and flowers, so yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And then Nathan, you wanted to talk a little bit more about the farmer training program. So students actually received one of the ALBA pamphlets about the PEPA program. So they did see a little bit about what you guys are doing at ALBA. But if you guys want to share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely, yeah. Before I do that, I just want to point out a couple different things. First of all, you just learned about two different potential career paths in agriculture, right? You can do community relations agriculture. You can do education agriculture. And for those, first of all, I want to applaud you guys for taking time to learn about agriculture as a possible career path. And I would encourage you to really consider it. Monterey County is almost a $4 billion a year ag industry. It's the #1 sector in Monterey County. And there's a lot of jobs. So I don't know if any of you guys have had parents that have worked in the fields, but there's a lot to do in agriculture apart from that. Perhaps some of your parents even said, hey, I came to this country so that you can go and do anything that's not agriculture, right? Well, the reality is that there's lots of really good and interesting jobs in agriculture, from robotics to being a crop advisor, to being a scientist, to working in ag law. So we need all these different professions to make our agriculture work in Monterey counties. Just want to point that out. And now I'm going to jump into my presentation for you all. Bear with me. Okay. Slideshow. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Great. So, basically I'm going to be giving you just an introduction to ALBA, and I'm calling this presentation El Futuro of Farming because as you're going to learn, basically ALBA believes that farm workers are a good group of people to recruit from for the next generation of farmers in California. All right, so here's just a quick agenda that's already changed a little bit, and that's fine. You can roll with the punches. So I'm going to give you an introduction, and then we've actually created a virtual farm tour for you all. And then we've already kind of got the meet and greet done with, but we'll leave lots of time at the end for questions, okay? And you can type questions in the chat box. You can raise your hand, and we'll answer your question right away, and we'll save time at the end in case you think of something towards the end. All right. So first of all, you need to know a little bit about what's happening out in the world. You guys are high schoolers now and need to kind of be paying attention to what's going on in society, right? We have some major, issues and trends that are happening right now. One of which is we have an aging farmer population. So the average age of a farmer in California is the early 60s. And guess what? It's the same for the country. So farmers are getting old. That's a problem because we need new farmers, right, to replace the aging farmers. The other issue I want to bring up, and this is very, very important, farm owners in this country are overwhelmingly white, okay, 93%. And Latinos that make up most of the labor and the workforce in agriculture, they only own 4.4% of farms, yet they're, way over 90% of the workforce. So that seems kind of like an imbalance, right? Something's just not right about that. Doesn't feel right. And then we also have the problem of small and mid-sized farmers kind of disappearing. I know everyone's more interested in food than ever before, and even supporting farmers and farms, but the reality is that these small, mid-sized farmers are disappearing, and the big farms at the top are growing. And in fact, the largest 4% of farms in this country make up 70% of sales. So again, another imbalance, right? We want to have more small and mid-sized farms. And then we also have a major shift in the agricultural land happening. So in the next decade, in the next 10 years, 10 million acres of farmland are going to change hands. So that's got to make you think about these questions. One, who's going to be the next generation of farmers in California, right? Who's going to actually fill the boots of these farmers that are aging out? And then what kind of farms do we want to have? So those are just two questions for you to think about while we go through the work that ALBA does in this presentation. So, a big part of my job at ALBA is running our farmer education course. So there's really two things that we offer at ALBA. One is the farmer education course, or PEPA, which stands for Programa Educativo para Pequeños Agricultores. And number two, our organic farm incubator. So I'm going to just kind of talk to you in general terms about what those two things involve. So I know some of you guys already got our neat little pamphlet to look at, and that's a good introduction to our farmer education course, by the way. But to boil it all down, basically we take on 30 to 40 students each year. And I say students because most of them are adults, and most of those are farm workers. In fact, 2/3 are farm workers coming in each year. The other third is primarily Hartnell students. And then we also get some people that are wanting to learn how to farm their land organically. So why do we get Hartnell students? Well, because our curriculum, our classes are actually accredited by Hartnell College. So you can get college credit by taking our course. And we meet a couple times per week. And in a normal year, which this clearly isn't, we actually farm an acre together as a class. And then we cover these different topics that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. And each one of those topics takes us about 8 weeks or 2 months. So we talk about crop planning, business management, okay, because running a farm is a lot more than just putting those seeds in the ground, right? It takes developing a business attitude, and then marketing, because you have to go on and sell your crops once you've grown them. Record keeping, because just like all things in life, there's paperwork involved in farming. And then we have what we call our boot camp, which is really an intensive 8 weeks where we get people truly ready to launch a farm at ALBA or outside of ALBA. So, you know, we get all different kinds of people come in the class. And in fact, the students learn a lot from each other, because we have people that have been irrigators for 10 years. We get people that have been harvesting strawberries for 20 years, and who better to train on these topics than the people that have that level of experience. We also have, you know, the college students coming in. They're usually bilingual. We get other kinds of professionals in the class, so people get to learn a lot from each other. We get to grow a lot of fun different crops as a class. You can see those colorful cherry tomatoes and flowers that we've grown in our 1 acre practice field. And then those that graduate from the farmer education course, complete all 5 of those modules, they can go on and actually lease land at ALBA. So we have 90 farmable acres, okay? And everyone starts off on a very small piece of land, a ½ acre, and then over 4 years, they can scale up a little bit each year. And we offer equipment that we lease out, all kinds of tractors and implements. They get to use our irrigation system. And probably the most important part is that we give them assistance on crop planning, regulations, using the tractor to prepare their ground. And then we have partners that come in to help them access loans so they can grow their business, find land outside of ALBA, and give them one-on-one business coaching. So it takes a whole team of different kinds of professionals, so again, different types of careers within ag, to train new farmers. That's just a nice shot of our farm. We're right in the heart of the Salinas Valley. We have some of the nicest farmland in the county, and the land leases for top dollar because you can grow very high value crops like your lettuces and your kales and your celeries and strawberries too. So why organic farming? Well, it makes sense for a whole lot of reasons. One, most of our farmers, you know, they're doing this as a family. So sometimes a husband or wife is involved and kids. And an organic farm is a lot safer place to farm with your family than a conventional farm where we're using a lot of harmful pesticides and chemicals, right? So it's a safer working environment. And it makes sense too. And when I say sense, I mean farmers can make more profit in organic farming because organic produce usually, not always, but usually sells for a higher price. And guess what? Organic farming is growing like crazy. When I was starting at ALBA 10 years ago, only 5% of Monterey County agriculture was organic. And now it's 25%. A quarter of all farmland is organic. And 80% of consumers are buying organic products each week. So it's really grown a lot. There's more farmers markets than ever before. People are more interested in organic produce. So that's why ALBA is organic. So I'll kind of pause there. Do you guys have any questions?
No questions.
Jump into our really cool farm tour.
Yes. So you had mentioned about how kind of give out land for people who take your program. How does that work? Like, do you guys, who keeps the profit, or is it a nonprofit?
Great question, Samantha. Yeah, so ALBA is a nonprofit organization. And what that means is instead of us being focused on making money, making a profit, we're focused on serving our community, okay? Delivering services that benefit our community. So that's what our classes do, and that's what our organic farm incubator does. And yes, we have to charge fees for different things like our course and to lease the land, which we actually lease at a reduced cost to our participants. But we have to charge to be able to cover some of our costs, and also to help prepare farmers to farm outside of ALBA, where they're going to be paying full costs for everything, right? So that's part of the idea. And the idea of the incubators, we create a safe place where people don't have to put in quite as much money to get started. To buy a new tractor, you know, that's $80,000 bucks. That's a lot for someone that is just starting, right?
Yes.
But I want to add a little bit more for Samantha, because I think she wants to understand how they plant there and how they get the land. So after they take that course that Nathan was presenting, which it lasts, as he said, like one year, they graduate. They need to graduate. And if they certificate that they graduate from all the modules that they take, then they can rent. Okay, if they accomplish the specifications that ALBA asks, because sometimes they are working in other places. So if they are working, they are not going to have all the time to commit it for farming. So ALBA see many aspects, and then we decide also depending how much land is available. Because right now, for example, we have, I think Nathan already mentioned, we have 100 acres, right? And right now we have 34 farmers. So each farmer can rent 5 at the most. So let's say that this year is going to start, and let's say that 6 farmers already graduate from ALBA. They are leaving. They already stay for 5 years, because 5 years is the most that they can stay. So let's say that they already graduate from the second program, which is the incubator. They leave, and then the one that just graduated from the program that Nathan teach, the farmer education program, can start renting. And we have to add some math and say, okay, how much land is left? Let's bring this one, and this one. And to start, they start just with half acre, and they stay for 1 year with half. So in that year, they see if how good they are, if they really are going to want to keep going or not. And then the second, third, and fourth, and fifth, they can get more land as long they are, they are making enough money to invest, and as long they are accomplishing all the rules that ALBA have. And in the first year, they pay just, I think it's 30% of what an acre will be outside. Let's say that an acre right now in that area is 2,000. So in ALBA, for half an acre, it will be like, do the math, wait a second, 2,000, like maybe 700 a month, which is a lot of help.
Yes.
And especially because there is not organic land available anymore. All the big corporations or companies, they own that land. But we only have 100, so we try to share it with everybody. And the fact that it's organic, is a great help opportunity. Now do you understand a little bit better?
Yes, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions before the farm tour?
I did have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Letty.
What kind of varieties of produce are farmers growing at ALBA?
Yeah. Well, have you guys heard of ants on a log before? What vegetable do you use to make ants on a log?
Celery.
Celery. Yeah, that's our #1 crop. Number 2, what's the Salinas Valley known as? Can someone tell me?
The salad bowl.
Yeah, so salad, and what's the main ingredient in salad?
Lettuce.
Correct. So lettuce would be our #2 crop. All right, number 3 is a little trickier. It's known as a superfood. It's kind of trendy, the hipsters. It's green.
Broccoli.
It's probably not enough detail. Not broccoli. Kale. You guys know kale? which has become a very popular vegetable. And then after that, you know, it's a whole range of other vegetables. Strawberries are pretty popular, ALBA, which isn't a vegetable, it's a fruit. And then, yeah, but those are kind of the main ones. But some farmers, like the ones that go to farmers markets, they might grow, you know, 20 different crops at any given time. Others like to focus on one or two crops and, you know, create a lot of volume and move it through like supermarkets and what's called wholesalers. These are big companies that buy produce in bulk. All right. Well, if you don't have any more questions right now, I'm sure you will have some after we watch our farm tour. So we're going to learn a lot about, well, we'll get to see ALBA, and we'll learn a little bit about organic farming, okay, and some other things too. So you ready for that experience? Do you have your 3D glasses to put on? Okay. Can you guys see this YouTube? No. Okay, that's okay. Don't worry, Letty, this is gonna work. Do it all the time. Can you see that? And then
Yes.
Letty, just give me a thumbs up that you can hear it once I start playing it.
Yo tengo más de 25 años trabajando en agricultura y un día me puse a pensar por qué no uso mi conocimiento para tener mi propia empresa. Y fue cuando decidí unirme a la clase de ALBA.
Welcome to ALBA.
ALBA is surrounded by larger farms that are heavily mechanized and rely on big groups of labor to come in and harvest the crops. This is the long road that you drive in on your way to ALBA after you pass the sign. And what you'll notice is that most of the fields around ALBA are empty. And that's because most of the industry picks up and leaves to go farm in the desert during the winter.
Here we are arriving in the fields of ALBA, and what you notice are all of the people and the colorful crops that are still being grown in mid-October.
Hi, this is our main building. Here is where the office is located and where the classroom where we teach the classes for the farmer education program. The classes usually are held on Wednesdays in the afternoon and Saturdays in the morning. Here you can see that was our old building. It's a farmhouse that we still keep. This is our new building, and we can go inside to check it out how the classroom looks like.
So before we go into the classroom, I'd just like to point out that this building is actually made out of straw. So it's a very natural way to build a building. This was the first building in Monterey County that was permitted to be built this way. And it's very nice because we don't have to add a lot of extra heat to keep it warm, and it stays very nice and cool in the summer. It's a perfect environment to work and learn in. Yep, pure straw in there, and some rebar, and other things.
And this here is our classroom.
And this is the heart of the farm. This is the pump where all our 34 farmers that are farming right now get the water from. The water comes straight down from the soil, from the earth. And as you know, water is a very, very hot topic right now because there are not too much water left. How deep do you think that this pump is?
100 feet?
No,
1,000 feet?
close, just kidding. How deep it is?
500?
500. Can you imagine? 500 feet down. That is where all the water is to plant all our 110 acres.
Whoa, hey there guys, almost didn't see you there. Before we get this tour started, first we gotta wash our hands. Now, you can sing the ABC songs twice, Twinkle Twinkle Little song twice. The point is to wash and scrub your hands for about 20 seconds. Or if you're creative, maybe we can sing the quadratic formula song. Ready? X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You can wash your hands for up to 20 seconds just before you do any type of harvesting, any work at the farm, after or before you use the restroom, lunch, stuff like that. But now that we got our hands washed, let's go for a ride.
So something important to us at ALBA is creating habitat for animals and insects. And one way we do that is by planting native hedgerows, which are made up of plants and shrubs and bushes and even small trees that attract all those kinds of animals. And one way that we do that is we plant different kinds of plants that flower and provide pollen and nectar at different times of the year. So that provides a space for bees to come, as well as some of our beneficial insects that can go out there and control the bad insects on our crops. That way we don't have to apply as many organic pesticides.
Welcome to the jungle, guys. Here, although it doesn't look like it, it's an outgrown field of broccoli. Sweet baby broccoli, also known as broccolini. And right here, you probably can't see it from where you're sitting, but there's a little surfeit fly, which is a beneficial insect. Now, here at ALBA, we try to provide a home, so we tend to plant a lot of alyssum homes for beneficial insects. Now, these beneficial insects help our farmers keep the pest population down by biologically eating the pest and having a successful crop. Ultimately, any pest application should be the last resort, which is why we focus on biological control, such as this little surfeit fly. There's also the minute pirate bug. There's lacewings. There's the ladybug. I'm sure you guys know what a ladybug is. But the usual ladybug adult, which you see, version, the juvenile, the stage right before the adult, looks like imagine like a crocodile, red and black. My favorite, although, is a lacewing, just because they lay their eggs like in a little pedestal. So, like, if you guys are golf players, you imagine how you set the ball on the puck. Anyways, yeah, beneficial insects rule, man. Woo!
Here at ALBA, we're always striving to be more sustainable. And recently, we installed this half-acre solar panel system, and this is going to take care of all of our electricity needs.
An advantage of starting to farm here at ALBA is we get to lease all of our equipment out to all of our farmers, and each of these tractors can help our farmers either prepare beds, prepare the ground, and help maintain your crops.
Here I am walking down a field. Let me get down low so you can see. This is actually a crop of dino kale that was recently transplanted. But what you're going to notice is that the farmer has drip tape that he or she uses to water the plants or irrigate. This is a really nice way to irrigate that saves a lot of water and energy because the water comes out of these little tiny holes. Yeah, you can see one there. And it goes right next to the plant. So no water is wasted by going into the furrow or in other parts of the field, like what would happen if you use big sprinkler pipes. So this is just another way that we're trying to be more efficient and grow crops with less water because water is very scarce in California. All right, so in organic farming, we don't use any synthetic chemicals. For our fertilizers, we use natural products like composted chicken manure, blood meal, feather meal, kelp, and even fish emulsion, which is what this is. Woo.
Now we are here in a celery field, and behind me is red leaf lettuce. Both of these crops have been really good this year. I'd say celery for the past 2 years has been the most crop that farmers plant. Celery is a 90-day crop, so it takes 3 months from transplant to harvest. They're actually finishing to harvest this field, and as you can see here, we have a box of celery packed and ready to go. The goal of all the celery farmers here at ALBA is to produce 24 count boxes. That is 24 celery stalks per box. They pack it in this box and they're gonna take it to the coolers at Coke Farm. Celery has a free period where no celery cannot be on the ground on the month of January, whereas lettuce behind me, you cannot have any lettuce planted on the ground on the month of December. January celery, December lettuce.
This is a crop of kale, dino kale. And as you can see, one of the farmers is weeding. And this is something that organic farmers do all the time, weeding. Because organic farmers, they don't use chemicals to get rid of the weeds. So that's why when you go to the store and notice that organic products are more expensive, it's because everything is manual. So there you can see how they get rid of the weeds.
Hey there guys, as you can see, this field is already fallow. There's not any crops grown here. And the reason why is because this land is getting ready for compost and cover crop. That's one of the few organic practices we do require all of our ALBA farmers to do, which is to apply compost to a certain area, and where you don't apply compost, you're actually going to apply cover crop. Cover crop, now there's a rule where we try to allow it on the ground to grow for 3 months or 90 days, after which you can mow it down, gets turned into the soil as organic matter. Following crops which are grown here where the cover crop was tend to do a lot better because of such high organic matter. We have a rule here at ALBA where we apply 5 tons of compost and 1 ton of gypsum to our soil as part of our requirements.
Con ustedes tenemos a Martina Viña, él es uno de los agricultores de ALBA que están en el programa. ¿En qué año va usted, Martín?
En el 4, vamos a pasar 4.
En el último año, ¿ah? Casi el último.
Casi el último.
¿Cuántos empleados tiene?
Ahorita andan trabajando 5, 7.
7. ¿Y qué están haciendo allí para que los estudiantes tengan una idea? Sabemos que están cosechando, pero ¿qué hay que tener en cuenta para cosechar?
Ahorita estamos cosechando green curly, bonches, 24 la caja. Ya de hoy unas 40 cajas van a cortar.
40 cajas. ¿De cuánto hay? ¿Esto es medio acre?
Eso es medio, casi un cuarto de acre.
De un cuarto de acre van a sacar 40 cajas.
Sale más, por lo regular salen más, pero el día de hoy yo pienso que por ahí unas 40 cajas.
Wow. Ok, ¿y dónde distribuye usted? ¿Dónde vende su producto?
No, pues básicamente le estamos vendiendo a Cook. A esta compañía se llama Cook.
Oh, qué bien.
Básicamente le estamos vendiendo casi diariamente y es con el que estamos trabajando ahorita.
¿Cuántos cultivos tiene usted aquí?
Aquí tenemos Red Leaf, lechuga, green curly y dino.
Muy bien. Y esto es que 2 acres, ¿verdad? Más o menos.
3 acres en todo.
3 acres que va desde allá, ¿sí?
Desde donde comienza hasta la lechuga.
Hasta la lechuga. ¿Esta de aquí?
Sí.
Oh, muy bien. Gracias, Martín. ¿Y qué es lo que más le gusta de ser agricultor orgánico?
Lo que más me gusta es, básicamente lo hace uno para salir adelante y para no estar trabajando para otro agricultor o a otra compañía, lo hace por trabajar por uno mismo.
¿Y usted tiene una página en Facebook o de Instagram que los alumnos puedan seguirlo?
Sí.
¿Cómo se llama?
A Viña Organic Farm.
En Facebook.
Sí.
A Viña Organic Farm. Ok, muy bien, muchas gracias.
Hey Nathan, break's over.
Oh. Yep, farming is hard work. You really have to have a passion for the land, being willing to put in the hard, long hours to get out there and get your small farm business started. So some of you might be wondering just how big an acre is. Well, the definition of an acre comes from an old thinking of how much work one person could do in one day. So back in ancient times, 1 acre was one person for a season, right? But an acre is 43,560 square feet. And I'm going to show you how big that is right here. So if you look all the way over there to the fence, all the way to that corner, where the trees are, where the high tunnel is, and way over there to where Andrea is, waving her hands, that's how big an acre is, folks. It's just a little bit bigger than your average baseball field.
If you want to learn more about becoming an organic farmer, you can visit us at www.albafarmers.org or find us on Facebook and Instagram at Alba Farmers.
Okay, guys. Do you like that video? Hey, Tom.
Yes, I like the video.
Good.
What do you guys think about the video?
Cool and awesome and interesting.
Great.
Do you have any better idea now what we do over there?
Yes.
¿Preguntas?
No.
¿No preguntas?
I had a question.
Daniel.
When it comes to like signing up for the organic farming program, especially for like those who are older already or have had experience, how does that work?
Yeah, great question, Daniela. Really, it's just a question of calling our office. I'll write the phone number right here in the chat box. And talking to someone, and we put you onto a list. Right now, everything's online, so it's all working a little bit differently, but we basically put you on a list, or this person on a list for the next module. Remember, there's 6 different 8-week-long modules. And then before the module starts, we send out a text message, and the person can participate in the course by phone for right now. And there's an application that needs to be filled out too.
Okay, thank
So it's 831-758-1469. Or you can always email me too at nathan@albafarmers.org.
I have a question as well. So for I think it was called the incubators, or who pays the farmers, or like the people who collect the who work on the farm?
Yeah, well, so the people that are leasing the land at ALBA, they're their own businesses. So they're responsible for all their own expenses, right? Their own fertilizers, they have to pay the rent that we talked about. Um, they have to pay their taxes, for example. And then, so the way they make money is by growing the produce and then selling it. So some are selling it directly to people at farmers markets, and others are going to restaurants or supermarkets or bigger places where they buy in bulk again at wholesale level. And then they get paid for the sales of their produce, and that's how they earn a living. And then sometimes those farms get big enough at ALBA even to have an employee or two. And then those employees get paid by the farmer.
I was going to add that, Nathan, Samantha, that when you said that who is working for them, the beauty of this program or the opportunity that ALBA provides is that in some cases, they work with their family. They bring the brother, the wife, the relative to help them. But there are, as they expand, as they get more land, they sometimes need to help. They need to pay to other farmers or to help him. So that's where we see that the program really is working, because it's helping not just that family who is taking the incubator program, but it's helping other workers around. And we have noticed it in the last 5 years that we don't have to do that much outreach for this program like before, because the workers that the farmers contract to work to help them and work for them, then they want to take the classes too. So we've been seeing a lot of cases that when we ask them, how did you hear about the program? And he said, oh, I just came because Juan Perez was, they asked me to work with him. And then, they pass the word out, and that's the way that now the program is been working. Basically, the workers became later their own independent farmers.
Wow, that's really cool. So you guys help, I guess, kind of small businesses or people who want to create a small business. I found that really interesting.
That's right, yeah. So basically it's a small farm business, right? Because farming at the end of the day, it's a business. You got to make money, otherwise you won't be able to plant again next year.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that most of them, they don't speak English, right? But they have family, they have kids, daughters and sons like around your age. So they are the one that now are helping. They don't have to be working next to them all day, but they can help them to fill up applications, to complete papers work, or to do the social media stuff for them. So as Nathan was saying in the beginning, agriculture is a good opportunity, not only if you think that you are going to be, working on the land all the time. There are other things that you can do around the industry. And you guys are, we are really blessed to be at the center of the Salinas Valley, where the weather, the conditions, the land is really rich. And California is the state that exports almost all of the food that United States eats, and even abroad. So for you guys that are here, this is a great opportunity for you now thinking, what do you want to study? It doesn't have to be, and I know that many of you have family who of you guys have family that work at the field or have worked at the field? Daniela, ¿qué más? Richard. So yeah, so this is a way also to promote this type of profession, and take it to a different level.
Yeah, and working in agriculture is great because, some jobs go up and down depending on what's going on in the world, but everyone always has to eat, right? 3 times a day for most of us. So that's what you call job security. And someone mentioned that they wanted to study medicine, right? And agriculture. And it just made me think that, you can become a plant doctor, believe it or not. So there are people that their job is to go out and, check to see if the plants are sick with an insect or disease. Then they come up with the cure for the disease, right? Whatever that may be. And then apply it and make the plants better. And so the farmer can sell more produce, right? And make more money.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question in regards to how you guys, I think they said it was the gentleman talking about how there can't be celery in the ground in January and there can't be lettuce in the ground in December. Can you explain why that is?
Absolutely. So, most of the plants that we grow have diseases that can attack them and make them sick. Okay. And celery and lettuce both have a disease that can affect them called a mosaic virus. It's just a virus for plants, just like we get cold viruses and things like that. They make us sick, right? So we've kind of worked out a special deal amongst all of us farmers in Monterey County where we don't plant celery in the month of January and lettuce from December 7th through 21st, because by taking that little bit of time off, the disease will actually disappear because it doesn't have any food. And so by doing that, we break the cycle of disease, and then we don't have to worry about it. So as long as everyone does what we've agreed to do, it works out. Easy peasy.
So I do have a follow-up question for that. So I garden, and I actually just bought students some lettuce starts. So even though we're not farmers, should we not be planting in December some lettuce?
I think, for your own consumption, I doubt it's going to be a problem. We're talking about pretty small amount, though you guys might have a bumper crop, Hope you do.
And Leticia, did they already get the poster?
Yes, they did. All students should have received their poster. If you guys still haven't picked up your kit, you can do so with your teachers.
I think the poster is going to give them a better idea why we should support this type of farming, because it states the difference between the two farming that are happening, the local farming and the industrial farming. So, and it's really cool because explain each level of the fats and differences between the two type of farming.
Yeah, and I did have a question. Is that like all the data on the poster is more global information, or is it a little different in California?
It's more in California. Yes, it's more related to California, and that was made for another non-profit that they do that kind of stuff. We just saw it and we thought that it was a great way to explain students. In fact, this is the one that we give to 4th and 5th graders for our environmental education program. But the content is really good for everybody. It's basic, but you have a clear idea of the difference between the two types, the pro and the good things and the bad things of each one. And then you can choose.
Yeah, thank you for definitely providing that. Students, do we have any additional questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So Nathan was saying how what do you say about a plant doctor? That he helps like the sick plants. I know here, like with my mom, what they do to the fields, they add spiders to the thing. Like I guess she said it was to kill the other, like the bad ones. And I don't know if you guys do that there, but I was wondering if you guys do.
We do, yeah. So, organic farming is one part like old-fashioned farming techniques, right? Like rotating the crops and growing crops just to feed the soil. We've been doing that for centuries. But the other side of it is like modern science. And something that we've learned how to do very well is check for bad mites out in the fields. This is particularly true in strawberries and caneberries too, is we're worried about spider mites that are bad, that feed on the leaves of the plant. And we've learned how to release good mites that actually go out and eat the bad mites. And it's so specific that we know exactly how many good mites there should be for the bad mites to control them. So we can go out and check and see what the balance is. And if the balance isn't right, we add more good mites. So yeah, it's very true. And it's something we do at ALBA. And that's something that a plant doctor would do. In fact, I should give it a technical name. So a plant doctor would be a pest control advisor, which is a very popular and in-demand career in our area that you can make a lot of money at.
And do you guys have a program for plant control advisors?
Pest control advisors? We don't, no, but those are classes you can take at Hartnell. Usually you want to have a 4-year degree, though you can sometimes become a pest control advisor with a 2-year degree. I'd say go large, get that 4-year degree first, but you don't have to.
And for like those who are interested in ALBA, are we able to like apply for internships and like things with you guys, or is it just like student-led thing that you would have to like apply into the program?
Yeah, I mean, there's no age restriction or anything like that on taking our farm education course. In fact, we had someone that was 14 years old graduate from it last year, and then another young woman that was she's a high schooler. And so yeah, it's just a matter of applying, and you can get the units for the ALBA class. In fact, I don't think there's anything stopping you from a high school student taking college classes through a dual enrollment. So you can. And then internships and things like that. We don't have an official internship program. There are ways to get credits through Hartnell and do volunteer hours at ALBA. And we do have an internship for food safety, if you know that that's something very specific that you want to focus on.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great. And I also wanted to see if Tom, since you did go through the ALBA program, Mr. Bentley, if you wanted to share a little bit about your experience.
It was terrible. Students, don't waste your time. It was bad. No, I'm just kidding. OMG, it was fantastic. Yeah. Nathan, Maestro, nice to see you.
Fist bump.
Yeah, no, the paper program is super rad, and I'd highly recommend it. And students, you asked such awesome questions about it. But it's, you know, and I came in late, but and I don't know how much Nathan and Nancy were bragging on their program, but it's internationally recognized. Like, their program's legit. Like, you know, there's a few farmer incubator programs, and ALBA is one of the most respected. And when it comes to social justice, ALBA is one of the most respected training programs in the state, if not country. So it's like, you know, it's really, really awesome. So I'd highly recommend checking it out, and such a rad partnership with Hartnell. So yeah, it's one of those treasures that's right in our backyard.
And now that you're saying that is internationally, we actually get a lot of requests from journalists from everywhere in the world, in California, and the whole United States. We just got a visit from the BBC, and they have a program which is called Follow the Food. It's an online program, and ALBA is going to be featured in December, so you should check it out. But also, if you want to know a little bit more, Daniela, you just Google ALBA and you go to our website. Well, we are going to have a new website. This one is still some parts works. If you go to news and media, you're going to see all the articles and news reports where we've been featured. And so you get to know a little bit more of ALBA. And then also farmer stories. You know, there are a lot of stories of farmers that went through the program, and now they are totally independent, having success, and they always like to mention the fact that now they don't work for anybody else, but they work for themselves.
Yeah, we've trained over 400 people so far and started over 150 businesses. And we have 60 active farmers in our region that have left ALBA and continue to farm right now. Yeah, and going back to our international fame, we were recently featured in a little newspaper called the New York Times. Check it out.
The link is right there too at in our website under news.
Great. Well, it looks like we are at time. We can probably do a couple more questions if anybody has any, maybe from teachers or others. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Nancy and Nathan, for joining us. Students, I did send out an email. I do need you to complete a pre-survey, so make sure you do that before you head out on your holiday breaks.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, they do have a great Instagram. I follow you guys. I enjoy your posts.
Right now we are having like each month a workshop through Zoom. In fact, tomorrow there is going to be one. If you guys are interested, we are going to post the link tomorrow. It's about food. It's about wait, what is about, Nathan? I'm forgetting right now. Record keeping, food safety. Those are topics, really, it's a hard topic that the farmers, organic farming has to follow. Food safety is like the regulations. And we have to keep updating them and training them into that. So if you want to have an idea of what that is like, just participate tomorrow. It's going to be at 7 p.m.
Great. Yeah, definitely send that over and I'll be sure to share that with students.
It's going to be in our Instagram and Facebook story. So check it out.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for your time and listening to us. And I applaud you on your efforts to learn about farming. And whether you ultimately go into farming or not, I encourage you to get to know farmers and spend some time in agriculture to learn about how food is grown, because you'll have a much deeper appreciation for it and the people that are out there working in the fields. And, if you do stay in Monterey County, that's where the jobs are at, a lot of them anyhow. So good job. And hopefully we'll see you at ALBA sometime in the near future.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Letty.
Bye.